You want me to put that on my todger?
This one's wife. Dining out again. Look at me. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. How was your weekend? I don't really care, but of course, it's a question that many people ask at the beginning of a new week. What did you get up to over the weekend? How was your weekend? Did you do much over the weekend? Ordinarily, many people ask it not because they're especially interested in the person that they're talking to's weekend, but rather as a precursor, through politeness, to wanting to tell them about what they have done. But what did you get up to over the course of the weekend? It might be the case that you decided that you wanted to spend time with your family, that you took the kids to the park, that you took the kids to a soft play centre. Maybe you had to do some shopping. Perhaps you engaged in some DIY. Maybe you tripped the light fantastic and went out on both Friday and Saturday night getting absolutely shit-faced, spending most of the weekend recovering in bed, groaning, "I'm not drinking again." Maybe you started to think about doing some DIY. Perhaps you decided, it's cold outside. I'm going to stay in and listen to H.G. Tudor. There are lots of different things that you have done over the weekend, and many millions of you out there. But we don't know about it. Why? Because you largely keep it to yourself. You might have told a few people what you did. You might even have advertised some of your activity on a social media platform. But the world didn't need to know about what you had been doing, because lo and behold, what you had been doing would be done by many other people. Yes, even that. I'm looking at you, Derek, in Gravesend. Now, of course, when it comes to this one's wife, we all need to be informed about what she does. Whether it's being like salt and pepper, always together with Harry. Whether it's a case of, look, she walks, she talks, she traverses a parking lot. So stunning, so brave. Whether it's a case of her being able to walk around with an anti-stress patch on her wrist, or sport a rictus grin as she enters or exits a building, there is no end to this woman's talents, and it is necessary for the entire world to be informed as to what she is up to. This time, she went out for something to eat again. Yes, she is so crazy bonkers that not only did she go out for lunch, she then went out for dinner. I can hear many of you picking your jaws up off the floor from the realization that someone could be so talented that they could not only go out for lunch and be photographed leaving afterwards, but then they could go and replicate that activity by going out in the evening. Yes, as per Raven Saunt writing for the Daily Mail, this one's wife dines with Oprah Winfrey's TV exec Terry Wood at trendy Japanese restaurant in L.A. Just hours after lunch with her fashion designer friend Claire Waite Keller. What a talented woman the Duchess of Sussex is. This one's wife looked effortlessly chic as she stepped out for a dinner date with friends. Are they, though? No. In Los Angeles. And she appeared to be dining with a very special guest. The Duchess of Sussex, 42, beamed as she arrived at the swanky Japanese Asanibo restaurant in Studio City on Thursday. She opted for a casual outfit with a grey sweater and grey skinny jeans, plus understated but very glamorous Chanel quilted ballet pumps. The former suit star accessorized with a $3,670 Goyard Belchasse Biard PM bag slung over her arm, according to the New York Post. Her dinner pal for the evening was Oprah Winfrey's TV executive Terry Wood, who was hired by the presenter's production company in 2019. Wood was hired by Winfrey 5 years ago to become vice president of her production company, Harpo Productions. Variety reports the former Netflix aficionado's role was intended to spearhead original content as she oversees a partnership between Oprah Winfrey and Apple. Wood was also an executive producer on This One's Wife and Harry's bombshell interview with a stalwart TV presenter in 2021, shortly after they left the royal family. It then harks back to things that have been mentioned about in that particular interview, which we needn't repeat. As the Duchess dined with the big TV name in LA, there was no sign of her husband, although it appeared the mother of two was having something of a girls' day with another friend. Earlier in the day, This One's Wife had grabbed lunch with the British fashion designer Claire Waite Keller, the former artistic director of the fashion house Givenchy, responsible for This One's Wife's bridal gown. It then repeats what we know about her wearing a coat, even though it was rather warm, and what she was carrying by way of handbag, and what it all cost. Thus, This One's Wife is out and about, and we need to know it. I don't think that she would necessarily be too pleased with the pictures, though. They don't exactly paint her in a flattering light, but that's something else. What do we deduce from yet another appearance? Well, of course, she is looking to assert control by going somewhat on the offensive. We've seen her in Whistler for 3 days. We had her popping up in London on a video appearance. She appeared with her fashion designer. She now was dining out, apparently, with Oprah's guru when it comes to production, with the TV executive Terry Wood. So she's certainly getting herself seen as part of this offensive of look at me. And of course, it is the charmless, conscience-free, remorse-free behaviour of a narcissist who simply deems that it is appropriate for her to take advantage of the fact that the royal family are somewhat 2 men down. With the Princess of Wales still recuperating and therefore not undertaking public work, resulting in a frenzy of sugars suggesting that somehow she's been offed and that she's under the patio at Clarence House, and King Charles having reduced his public-facing duties as a consequence of his cancer diagnosis and the treatment that he's undergoing, This One's Wife, rather than behave in a suitably mooted way and show support for them, goes to full throttle. While they're out of the way, here's a chance for me to shine. Here's an opportunity for me to be seen. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Her narcissism, rampant as ever, propels her to make appearances and ensure that the press are there to record it, that the paparazzi obtain the photographs, and that they're fed to the press so that she's spoken about. Thus she asserts control and draws fuel. It enables her also to signal to the world, look, I'm a mover and a shaker. Here I am having dinner with a TV executive. Now, for all she knows, the TV executive might have decided to have dinner with her just in order to shut her up from her incessant telephoning of the individual, or might have been sent on a mission by Oprah to find out, is there anything that might be milk from her for another interview that we could benefit from? Or is it all now out in the open and she's something of a spent force? And thus This One's Wife, maybe wanting to give the appearance that she's a mover and shaker, finds herself actually being played with regard to determining whether she is of any use to other people. It demonstrates her wholesale disregard for members of her family, which of course is no surprise given the treatment that she's meted out with regard to her father and her half-siblings. Furthermore, it demonstrates the fact that the children very much come second. Okay, they might be with her dad, and nobody might be with their dad, rather. And, of course, It's not the case that you have to be chained to your children all of the time, but as we know, she spends an awful amount of time away from them. And having been away from them for 3 days in Whistler, she then spends the entire day away from there, out glad-handing with other people at lunch and also at dinner. Once again demonstrating the fact that all that really matters is her. All that really matters, of course, is the pursuit of the prime aims with everything that this woman does. How is she viewed by those that wish to comment below the line? Well, Pigeon Street gets off with, wow, all that money and she still looks years older than 42. Although she does have one very unique talent, making expensive clothes look cheap. And therefore wading straight in on the appearance of this one's wife. Life story 4, effortlessly chic, the shoes are ugly. I'll tell you what is effortlessly chic. She has spoken out on various environmental topics, including climate change, sustainable agriculture, and ocean conservation. Meanwhile, flying across the world for something she could accomplish over a video conference call. Yes, and for being an eco-warrior that seeks to tell us how to live. I've never seen her wear the same clothes more than once, and to that, she wears clothes that require a lot of water to grow, synthetic fibres that rely on fossil fuels, textile waste where clothes are discarded after one wear contribute to the massive textile waste problem, and on that person goes talking about chemical pollution and microplastics, giving this one's wife a good old kicking with regard to her use of fast fashion. Gigi, so privacy and anonymity aren't that much fun without attention. Barbara Morgan, trying to make herself relevant when those days are long behind her. Every time I look at her, I think of how she has treated her father. Into the mind, obscene amount of money for a bag. Why does she or anyone need a bag that size to cart around when going out for dinner? Is she stopping off at the supermarket on the way home to get the weekly groceries? Just my thoughts, replies she's showing off as usual. Older, hopefully wiser. That's some heavy-handed bronzer, not very flattering. It's supposed to give a healthy glow, not add years to the complexion. Just a girl from NYC replies, she never gets it right. She doesn't get anything right for that matter, especially reading the room that no one likes her. Paid pap walks will not change that. Tuppence worth. Markle is a relentless self-PR machine. She is seen out and about at all the pap hotspots and without Harry there too, and coinciding with their recent reinvention of themselves, there will likely be an endgame design. Even her appearance is most likely micromanaged and contrived by her to the last detail to create an image she wants the media and the world to see. Vivian123, remember, she was crying about Brits not allowing her to wear the colourful outfit she loved but forced her into neutrals. And Mrs. Browndoff, clearly a watcher of your glorious narrator, replies, the Duchess of Industrial Beige strikes again. Well done, Mrs. Browndoff. Criticisms galore as usual, focusing on her aged appearance and the fact that people see that she's just so thirsty for that fuel that she seeks out the spotlight. And once again, we are subjected to this one's wife doing something mundane, going out for dinner, which she has to ensure is turned into a circus. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.